Hi parents, welcome to the webinar today. To parents who joined our previous webinars, welcome back. And to anyone who's just joined recently, welcome to this webinar. We are going to do a talk on getting ready for the GCSE Results Day. So it's Monday today and the results are coming out on Thursday. And this is going to be a quick guide from a parent's perspective, but also for your child too. So if your child is in the room, grab them and bring them over and let them listen to this. It's going to go over a lot of key information and help you be prepared for the day. So let's just jump straight into it now. We're just going to start with a brief introduction to us.
Absolutely. So I'm Joe, that's Harry. We are owners of the Degree Gap, and we have been going for a fair few years now, and we aim to support students with GCSE and A-Level tutoring. Yeah, we know how much tutoring impacts a student's education. We were both tutored when we were younger, and it really did help us and really helped us with our educational journey in general and brought us to where we are here today now, which is fantastic. We see students continuously struggling at school with various subjects, and we aim to provide them the support they need. So therefore we built a platform, and we've got over 80 tutors on the platform now. Yeah, specialist tutors who can support yeah, with pretty much any subject. And today we're going to talk all about GCSE Results Day, which is a massive day of the year for us and every student across the country. Yeah, so it should be a really good day. We've won a few awards along the way, and we've also got a fair few 5-star reviews. So yeah, and I hope that you enjoy this webinar with us.
Perfect. So this is what we're going to cover today. It's just a quick agenda. We're going to go over the day, how you'll get results, kind of basic information about timings, then what the grades actually mean, translating the old A star to C to 9 to 1, because we do get asked about that often. The critical question of when results aren't what you hoped, what the next steps are. I'm sure a lot of parents are thinking about that at the back of their minds. What comes next? A levels, BTECs, T levels. There's so many different options open now, and it sounds like lots of jargon to parents. So we'll break that down exactly what they are. Support your child on the day. This is more from an emotional perspective, how you can help them if they don't get the grade they want and they're slightly disappointed. And then we're going to jump into a live Q&A with an advisor from the careers people. Jess has kindly collaborated with us on this webinar, and she's going to give a lot of advice, or a member of her team, on when GCSEs do matter from their experience and when they don't as much. So really useful stuff, and we're really thankful for them to be joining today.
Absolutely. So, when is results day? So, as I'm sure everyone knows here, it's on the 20th of August this year. Most schools open between 8 and 9:30. So just double check the time that your school opens. Probably get there after 10, and it will definitely be open for sure. There is actually a new app, which is cool, which is like an education record app, which you can find on different app stores, which essentially allows you to have your records online now, which is cool. So although me and Harry definitely recommend going in to collect the results, we both did, and the feeling can be quite surreal, especially if you put the effort in and you achieve the grade that you would like. You can obviously just sit at home and open them up on the app as well. The app's really good to keep all your records in one place, and also send your results to future employers and sixth forms and colleges and whatever you have planned for the next steps. But yeah, definitely go in and collect your results. It's really good feeling. Whether you want to bring them home and then therefore show your parents, and of parents you want to go in with your child, completely up to you. But yeah, it's a really good day. Yeah, I hope you're looking forward to it.
Yeah, perfect. And I will just say that if you don't get the grade that you would like, or a grade surprises you, the support is there in the moment. So it's much quicker, much more effective to do that. So on both sides, if you're really excited, but also if you get surprised by a grade, it's good to be there and speak to the school about the next steps. A
Absolutely.
quick word on BTECs. So it has been a lot in the news recently, that BTECs are going to be defunded. I would like to break down that myth slightly. So some courses, including applied science, have actually lost their funding for September onwards, but most BTECs are going to extend their funding to 2026, 2027. You're probably wondering what's coming next for them. We're introducing V levels. So they work slightly better because They're like an A-level slots. So you normally pick three or four. It's like a V-level version, so a vocational A-level, and it's much more steered towards people who want a less academic route and more vocational. Just double check with if you are going to go to college, double check that the college has actually got the funding for that, because there's some colleges that are mistakenly advertising for defunded pathways, which is quite bad. So just check first that it's got the funding, but most courses do at this point.
Exactly. So, big question to why GCSEs matter. So, me and Harry emphasise this a lot, that there's no such thing as a good grade. It's all about opening doors. We will tell every student and parent this, and yeah, essentially, it's the first key point within a student's educational journey where they're opening the door to the next stage. As we've said already, could be an A-level, could be T-level, could be a BTEC, could be work. Yeah, so whatever's next for you, for your student, for your child, it's about opening that door. So. Say it be a grade 7 in maths or a grade 6 for science or just a pass, as long as it opens that door, yeah, that's what we're mainly looking at here. This will be discussed more in the Q&A, so we can discuss what exactly students need to go through to open the next door, and then some flexibility as well that we'll come on to later on in the presentation. But yeah, and we'll talk about some exact examples as well. But as I say, it's just about opening that next step, and then therefore looking forward to achieving whatever you want to do next.
Perfect. Just understanding the 9 to 1 system. So Joe and I were the first year to take 9 to 1s in 2017, which seems a long time ago. But we took maths and English a 9 to 1, and then the rest of the subjects, so science, history, geography, was all A star to C. Why we made the transition to 9 to 1, from my perspective, is they help split the very top performers from the top performers, basically. So the 8 and 9, it was that split, and it helps the ultra academic courses like something at Cambridge or Oxford or UCL to differentiate the top performers. So 7 translates to the old A. 8 is like an A star or like a middle A star, and then a 9 is the top A star, and it's really hard to get a grade 9. So if you do get them and open them grades and get a grade 9, that is an amazing achievement, because it does take a lot of work to get there. Grade 4 is a pass, grade 5 is a good pass, a 6 is around a B, and then anything lower than a 4 is a fail. So just a quick myth buster here is that a grade 7 isn't 70% of the paper. What the examiners do every year is they work on a distributional basis. So they will work out, based on how hard the paper was for the students, roughly how many people should get grade 9s, 8s, or 7s. So when we did it in the first year for maths GCSE, really hard paper. So they brought the grade boundaries down for grade 9, but now I know that they've been inflated up quite a bit since then. So it's getting harder and harder to get them top grades.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and then what you'll actually get on the day. So a lot of parents believe that they're going to be receiving their certificates as well as the results, but that's not true. You essentially just get a statement of provisional results. So as we put on the right hand side there, a little example, it's really simple. You won't get confused. It'll have the subject and the grade that you achieve on the right hand side. Yeah, certificates come later on in the autumn time, and you obviously all you'll be able to find them on that educational app as well, which we can obviously send the link to if anybody needs it. So yeah, so don't get confused. You'll just receive your results, and yeah, that should be fine.
Brilliant. So what if your child doesn't get the grade they want? We want to emphasize that you do have time. In some cases, not that much time, but the options are there, and more options than most parents will realize. So we're going to jump into lots of them options now, about what to look at first and other cases too.
So exactly on that note, the first thing parents and students usually think is, should I ask for a remark? And which is a great thought, and obviously the grade can change, but it's not risk free. Grades can go down as well as up. So as we will speak about as well later on in the presentation, if you're a couple marks off going up a grade, then therefore you're more likely to go up than obviously come down. But again, you can differ. We've had friends that have remarked when they did GCSEs or A levels, and they've gone down, and you're even more gutted than you were potentially when you open your results. So yeah, just to emphasize that, be really, really careful by the papers that you send off. And the stats there are that under 1% of all GCSE grades change on review. So it's really, really, really small number. But of those, 22% of papers sent review change and almost all go up. So it is more positive, the fact that, yeah, we're more likely to go up than down, that's for sure. And especially if you're going to get remarked, you wouldn't probably choose to remark a paper that you know is more on the lower end. You're probably going to pick one that's more on the higher end that you could get 1 or 2 marks and go up. So Harry did one. So Harry can tell you a bit about that.
Yeah, so I got my English literature remarked. So I was 2 marks away from a grade 9. My parents mentioned that we should look at it. I would strongly suggest that looking for a remark in the more qualitative subjects is a better option. Something like maths is sometimes can be quite right or wrong. We're going to come on to actually the different ideas of how you can get remarked soon. But I did that. Unfortunately, I went up 1 mark. So I was 1 mark away from a grade 9 in the end, which was interesting for me in the moment and a bit gutting. But yeah, as they say, look for the more qualitative subjects where they make a judgment call because they're more flexible than something like maths or some areas of science.
Exactly.
Perfect. So actually coming on to the remarks and the cost involved. So I've mentioned that the recheck is more like just checking that the marks were added up correctly. So for something like that, maths, that might be worthwhile. It's a very low cost involved. You're looking around 10 to 14 pounds. But for a full review, yeah, I mean, it changes by board. We've got AQA there at around £44, OCR 84, and Pearson Edits there around 50. As I mentioned, the essay subjects are generally subjects that can move more, something like history, English, geography, then long questions and more of a judgment call. Just know that if you do change your grade, then the fee comes back to you, something important to mention. But don't just send off a paper if you feel bad and don't get all of them remarked because you felt like you were more confident in that subject, because that's not the route to take down, and that's not what we're going to suggest here. So, yeah.
Yes, exactly that. So, yeah, the rules, quite bluntly, your child needs a grade 4 to pass. So, the core subjects in maths and English language, literature, obviously, it's an important subject, but if you don't pass it, you don't need to resit it. But English language and maths, you need a grade 4 to pass. So, when it comes to resits or studying them again, if you don't achieve those grades of fours, some schools and colleges let you study alongside studying the next step. Obviously, it's not ideal. Would like to focus, just purely on the next step. But yeah, they're very, very flexible of how you how you fit that in essentially. But just to mention everyone, it's an amazing achievement if you do get above a 4. Don't compare yourself to your friends who may have, as Harry said, the 7s, 8s, or 9s. If you've got a 4, you've opened the door to the next step and you've done really, really well. So, but yeah, if you don't, as we've mentioned on the right there, if you don't, you will have to obviously keep retaking until you do pass.
Perfect. So just on the topic of resits, it is a little bit of a sprint. So we've got 10 weeks since then. But the issue is that a lot of students that come to us who have unfortunately not passed and wanting to resit is that they forgot a lot of their information that they had from their year 11 content. So we've got to build that up quite quickly, the foundations, and then come on to past papers. Because it's quite tight, that you can't just say, oh, I need to do more past papers, because that's not the right route. You need to get that mark back and think to yourself, well, where was I weak? The red, amber, and green that we're going to come on to. And that's why a lot of students come to someone like the degree gap. We have lots and lots of experience. We worked with hundreds of students through that resit period and got them with a quite good track record to pass in the mid-January results. If you don't pass in mid-January results, then it's the summer period again. It just becomes a little bit of a pain for you and a bit of an inconvenience because you will be at college, you will be studying other subjects, and you're coming back to a subject you probably don't enjoy that much. So try and smash it first time, but if you can't go to them resets, really confident in you can potentially use someone like the degree gap to do that.
Yes, exactly. So let's probably one of the most important slides that we're going to go through. So it's about reflecting on revision, what worked and what didn't. So through the patterns that we usually see with students, we find out that these four four areas are where students fall down essentially. So, did your child start too late? So we all fall into this region of some stage, especially with certain subjects, especially ones we don't enjoy. But your revision should be started maybe at the start of year 11 particularly, and then yeah, even after Christmas. If you start revising 4 to 8 weeks before the exams, it's probably not enough. So, did you revise enough and early enough? Rereading didn't self-test, as Harry said. It's extremely we emphasize it a lot to go through past papers. It's the only way you're going to find out where you are. And we've done webinars on this in the past, revision strategies, cover all of these. And one of the biggest parts is testing yourself. You can read the textbook a million times, but you're not going to know what sort of questions pop up and how you're going to answer them and pick up those marks. Did you avoid the hard topics? So did you sit there picking on the easy topics because you knew it, and then the hard topics come up in the exams, and you think, "Oh my God, I didn't revise this because it was difficult." That's where students fall too. So as Harry mentioned, the RAG rating is really important. So red, amber, green. So if you've got things like flashcards on the Yankee app or just your own flashcards, you do the red ones and the amber ones more than the green ones because they're the ones you're slipping up on and they're the ones you need to know. So if you need any advice on any of these, please give us a call afterwards or we can discuss it in the Q&A, whatever you like. And the last one is knew it and lost marks on technique. So again, me and Harry chose both quantitative and qualitative subjects, but the ones like business, economics, geography, English are the ones where it really, really does help to know exactly what the markers are looking for. Those key terms, so to what extent and evaluate and things like that. We've all seen questions like that, and they are the ones that you do need to nail. And you can write, yeah, I've seen students, especially in business, students write pages and pages and pages on an answer, not pick up barely any marks because they just haven't answered it in the right way and the right structure. So need to nail that on. So as I say, these are the four areas that need definitely need reflecting upon when you get your results, and yeah, try and input those for next time. We can definitely help you with these if you need any help at all.
Perfect. Just talking about if you miss your grade by one and you're looking to go to sixth form, don't think that if you miss your grade by one, if say for instance you need a level seven at A-level maths, you got a grade six. Don't think you've lost your place because sixth forms can be flexible, but you need an action plan going forward. Contact them immediately and bring evidence. That could be mocks, that could be extenuating circumstances, that could be a mark script. Um, know that you need to bring that evidence to them to show that okay, I did get a grade six, but I've been performing at a seven and eight for all the mocks, so it might have just been one exam. Remember that they want strong candidates coming to them because the A levels do jump up a lot from GCSEs in terms of difficulty. So it's rational for them to kind of judge you at that point on your strengths. Ask them to confirm the place and ask whether if they would even hold it if you do a review. If you're a few marks away from that grade seven, then have a think about doing a review. And then the last point is about resitting alongside the course. So you could resit that GCSE maths or look at alternatives. Say, for instance, something like sciences, you might want to take psychology. It generally is a lower grade boundary. Or if you want to take maths and want to keep the quantitative focus, you could look at taking statistics, which is a slightly lower grade boundary. Ask your schools about the options, and I'm sure they'll be able to provide a lot of support there. Just a quick note down here: if you are based in London, that a lot of you are, use the Applica app to confirm your place. That's where everything kind of centered towards. About confirming your sixth form application, and there is regional clearing style symptoms like Kent choices that are applied per region, but you'll get a lot of information about that from the school that you're at right now. I'm sure they'll be able to provide that support. But yeah, for London, Applica is where everything kind of plays.
Absolutely. So, yeah, let's go on to what comes next. So, when you open the results, depending on what you get, let's talk about some of the choices that you can go on to.
So, the critical question that a lot of students come to us with is, should I take three or four A levels? So, in most cases, we suggest three, and that's because even the top performing universities like Oxford or Cambridge and the top Russell groups um, look at quality over quantity. If you A star double A is always better than a quadruple A, and a lot of Oxford and Cambridge they're looking for two A stars in A or an A star and an A. So quality over quantity. Anecdotally, I picked four. I picked further maths because I wanted to go to LSE and I knew that the course they take an entry course of MA 100 that's really mathematical. Most people, once they got to LSE, pick that. They now scrapped A100 and brought in a new maths course that's less mathsy and less intense. So there's less of a requirement to have further maths. But from looking back retrospectively, I wouldn't have picked psychology. It wasn't something that I was particularly strong in. And it meant that, well, a lot of my friends had free periods, I had none. And that meant that I had to really hone in the revision strategies, but it also meant that I was a little bit time pressured in the evenings. So it looking back, I would have still picked further maths because I needed it to get into LSE, but I wouldn't have picked psychology because it was too intensive for me. Other things to think about if you're going to pick a four is if you're bilingual, then picking your primary language as an A level is a good option because it's quite easy for you if you're fluent in that subject and you spoke that since childhood. If you're generally strong and the passion is there, I can say that in my further maths class, there was around 10, I think, students. Only two of us picked it till the end. That's how hard it is to pick four. Another point to mention is that UCAS points can be awarded in other areas. If you're particularly strong in a subject, in a instrument, sorry, something like violin, piano, guitar, if you're going to take that from a grade six or above, then you can get UCAS points that way or through ballet exams or through other extracurriculums. Really think about them if you're particularly strong and you've been doing piano since you've been really young and you can quite easily get a grade eight or nine, level eight or nine qualification in that. So that's another option. But as I said, most of the time it's free, only in certain circumstances. If you're particularly strong, would you choose four?
And then quickly on that note as well, with the three, one bit of advice that I got from a teacher that I thought was absolutely fantastic, was that if this is dependent on whether you pick them or not, or whether you got the ability to change, or some of you are in year 10, is to pick one that you're really good at. It will make life easier within sixth form. Pick one that you are really interested in, so you find really interesting whether you've done it before or not, and pick one that links them together. The amount of students that we hear that do maths and then psychology and media, and you think they're three great subjects, but they don't really link together very well. It just helps. I did business, geography, and economics, and I found them they all three of them link together. To be honest with you, and when you've got similar topics and you're revising similar subjects, it just becomes a lot easier. So just a bit of advice, but don't be worried if you haven't picked it like that. Yeah, they're still absolutely fine.
That's a good point.
So yeah, obviously let's speak about the other options aside from A levels. So A levels being the gold standard for academic degree routes. So A levels essentially build you the skill set to prepare you a bit more for university. So looking at the academic study and the wider reading is really key. So learning around the subject, not just what's in that textbook. Alongside, obviously, you've got the alternative of BTECs and T levels. So if your child is more, more suited towards the coursework side of things and less sort of wants to memorize things for an exam and do the wider reading, then coursework may be the way, and that's where BTECs and T levels fit in. And we see students doing really well in this route as well. So yeah, they're different. And as we mentioned, V levels are coming in as well, which is really exciting.
Perfect. So one of the questions we get asked when we have a lot of parent consultations is how thick should the plan be going forward? Should the student know what they want to do in the future? And one of the questions that Joe and I asked on the consultation call straight away is, what do you want to do in the future? Because that steers us towards what tutor we can pair you with and try to get a match right in terms of interest. But it's always a case that the parent laughs and says, well, one minute they want it to be a policeman, next minute they want to be X, next minute they want to be Y, and it's always changing. And that's what it should be at this moment, right? Keeping it flexible is the most important factor. So if you are going to pick options for A levels, try to pick stuff that keeps doors open for university. So I always suggest if you can pick maths and push for it, because if you are going to then steer towards a more quantitative degree, something like economics, something like maths, something like engineering, there's a lot of routes that have A-level maths as a requirement. And if you don't have it at that point, you might even need to resit A-level maths. So choosing it is great for them STEM routes, and universities rate A-level maths extremely highly. Just note here, I put a little message down here. A year to redirect or resit is worth it if it's going to open the door for the next 10 to 20 years of career development or the next to get you into the dream university. Remember that plans change all the time when you're that young, but keeping as many doors open as possible is critical. So let your child be flexible with their ideas and with their dreams, and just nod your head and let them be flexible there. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk a bit about supporting your child on the day. It's probably the most important part of this. Results day can be very, very mixed emotions. So let's talk about how we can deal with those. So being in the position that me and Harry were in when we got our results, so we're not that obviously not too far from it. We know exactly what it's like. And the first thing to do is just let them speak first. So obviously they may feel disappointed, confused, or really excited. Just let them deal with their emotions, I say, on their own and let them speak to you first. Don't jump in, grab their results, or start making assumptions, or which we'll come on to after this slide. But yeah, let them speak first. And as I say, don't jump to solutions. Don't start thinking about what the next steps are already if things haven't go as planned. There isn't an instant fix to these things. It's got to be an actual detailed plan about what's next, what's the right thing to do. And yeah, just don't jump to solutions. And then the fix can wait. So an hour a day, however long it needs to be, let them go and take some time away, spend some time with friends, really take it in before what the next plan is. I know we've emphasized about how quick to get in contact with the sixth form, and some of you may want to do that. Some of you may be thinking, I'm on the boundary, I'll have this. It's always good to prepare. If this happens, I'll do this, and if this happens, I've got this plan. So you can weigh it up like that. But obviously, as I say, just react calmly and yeah, let the student speak first always.
Perfect. Just kind of developing on that point, minding your language, avoiding the word fail because that keeps into a child's brain for a long time, right? If they tried really hard for their GCSEs and you say the word fail, it's going to invoke a lot of emotion from them, and that's something they're going to remember long term. Praise the effort, not the result. It's so easy to even if they do well, and if they don't do very well, focus on that result, but really think about the amount of effort they've put in. So if they've not done very well in science, but they revise every day, and you saw them working really hard, that's what counts in the long run. Remember, if they're going to go to A level, it's the effort that matters. It might be one bad exam, but in the long run, it's the effort that matters. Especially if you're going to go to university after, it's a long path from here in terms of academic exams. So it's the effort to focus on. Do not compare to friends and family. We all know a child who's been revising since year 8 or 9 and got full grade nines. That is amazing for them. That's an amazing achievement, and I don't hold anything against them. But just don't compare yourself to that child because you've all got your strengths and weaknesses. The most important point here, and the quickest thing for parents to do, is to go to the I told you so option. So if your child hasn't revised much, that conversation around them not revising much can wait for the next day. Remember, in this moment, you need to provide the emotional support. Later down, maybe a week later, you can get in a conversation with them about the next plan. And you can definitely have a conversation around not revising enough, about the next steps, but do that very constructively and don't attack them in the moment when they're quite vulnerable. Remember, a really important point at the bottom is that they're still becoming who they will be, and what you say in this moment stays with them because they could, if they don't do as well, be in a position where they're quite disappointed.
Exactly. And one last point on that note is we've got so many friends who have had results, both GCSEs and A-levels, that haven't gone the right way or the way they wanted them to, and end up doing amazing things. As I say, we say we can express enough that it opens the door to the next step, and it really, really does. But if it doesn't open one door, it will open another. So yeah, don't be too disappointed. Yeah, and then. Yeah, so how we can help. Sort of full circle moment, really, from where we mentioned at the start. But as I say, we do have a platform of amazing tutors, and the first step to potentially providing you some support is booking a free consultation with me or Harry. We can talk you through. We both got different experience in different realms of different subjects, so we can talk through different options that you have in your specific area. Provide you a tutor who can talk you through different options. We've got a Q&A after this as well, and then we've got the option of just talking about A-level support. So going on, if you know you're going to go on and, like Harry said, do maths and further maths or chemistry, they can be really, really difficult subjects. It's always good to get support early if you need it. So that's always worth it. And we can just have general conversations. We just really enjoy speaking to parents and students who are in all sorts of different situations, who are considering different futures. And we look to support everyone in the same way. So yeah, please phone us up, book a consultation, call in, however you'd like to. And yeah, we'd love to speak to you all.
Yeah, perfect. Just to round this off, thank you so much for joining this webinar. If you're not staying for the live Q&A, thank you. It's been really nice speaking to you all and sharing our experience. If you are looking to get in touch with us, that's our website, www.thedegreegap.com. That's our number that will phone through to us too, and that's our email. If you would like to book a free consultation call, then we'd love to help in any form. If you get to that day and you don't get the results you want, you know that we're just a phone call away to provide some expert support. But otherwise, we're going to jump straight into the Q&A now with the careers people, with a careers advisor on the line, and being able to answer a lot of questions for you about the next steps, about any worries that you might have. So let's jump over there and we will see you very shortly.
Right, see you soon,
Bye.
everyone. See you later.